Hello, hello! I'm Allison Sudlow, and today we are going to be doing a review of the Crayola 120 Crayon Colors box. I picked this up at Walmart. It was about $7 plus tax, and we're just going to go ahead and get into it. So, opening it up, we're greeted by a little character. They've recently started doing this with all of their kind of different designs. And yeah, so it has its own cute little sharpener, which seems pretty easy to use, but I think that because it's really easy to pop off, it might also become an issue. For, let's say, if you're drawing in the car or coloring in the car, having a sharpener that's so easy to open can be an issue. But I really like the design. It's really cute. It's a little buddy. He's green. So let's start taking out all of the different colors. So let's see, in this box we have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16 in this box. Then we have another 16 count box. Oop. Another 16 count box. Oop. Can't get this one out. Oh no. Okay, there we go. Another 16 count. Ooh, I see a gold in there. That's not, yeah, that is a gold. It's glittery right there. That one right there. That's nice. Then we're going to get this one. Another 16 count box. Ba-ba-da. Another 16 count box. I really like these colors. This one has always been one of my favorites. It's always been used up first in all of my big Crayola boxes. And then we have a big chunky boy. We have a really big box right here, so 24 in this one. So we have them all out of the box here, and they're, counted them all, we have 120, so that's good. I've heard a lot of different things online about people being upset with the way that the product, that the packaging is designed, and honestly, I don't really mind it, because when it comes in, it has enough space for the little sharpener to have its little spot in the front. Has one bigger box, and that's just kind of like against my, I like everything to be matching, so that kind of messes with me, but I don't really mind it. They sit up really well in this little box, although I wish that it did have something similar to what it has in the 64 count box, which is its own little plastic container for all the crayons. I can understand why they didn't do that for this case, just because this is a lot of crayons. They do have one, I think it's 106 to 104, something like that, a big box of those as well. But I just got the 120 count because, I looked at their I looked at their really big map of all the different colors that they've had from like 1930 until like 2010, and it's a lot of different colors. I'm sorry, I just can't get over this little guy. He's so cute. So I've actually been using crayons for a really long time because I just enjoy how easy it is, and I don't feel like I'm wasting something, because I know that whenever I use my Copics or I use my Prismacolor pencils, I feel like, this has to be perfect. But with crayons, it's much simpler. I don't feel pressure to make every little detail perfect. Although I know that a lot of people are like, oh, well, there are white specks so you can see the paper through it. But yeah, you just have to press a little harder. And sometimes that can be like a little bit much, but sorry, I'm playing with this. But yeah, I think that the packaging design could use a little bit more, but I kind of just enjoy being able to reach in here and like leave little crayons here, because that's just how I enjoy coloring. I've already drawn up a couple things that I can color on a brown cardboard and then a white piece of paper. So we're gonna go ahead and color with that and see how that goes. Alright, so I've actually just drawn out a really simple streetscape that I've actually cut out of a very light piece of cardboard. It's very dense, so it's like completely flat. It's kind of like a cereal box quality. So I've just traced the outline of that on the paper so I know where to color. So yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and go for some kind of pretty simple, pretty fun. One thing I forgot to mention about the packaging design is that all around the outside they actually have, I don't know if it's all of the different colors, but a lot of the different colors that are featured within the box. And I think that's just a cute little thing that they did. So I'm going to go ahead and start with one of the darker colors. And if you're interested, this one's turquoise blue. always loved using crayons ever since I was a little kid. Like, I've just always found them really, really fun to play with, and again, I don't get that pressure of having to make things look really nice. Although you can get a pretty nice level of quality with crayons. I'm actually working on an art piece right now that will be utilizing crayons as the big, like, media that I'll be using. So that's going to be interesting. If y'all want updates on that, I'll see if I can do an overview of the artwork afterward, because I'm putting in a lot of symbolism to the colors and to the meaning of every little aspect of the drawing. Sorry, it keeps on autofocusing, but that's okay. It's just crayons. So what do y'all think about crayons? I've always really liked crayons, and I think that they're fun. But one thing I never liked about the crayons is when you start pressing really hard, is that you get the little wax flakes, which I was never a fan of. I find them kind of irritating, and sometimes they stick to the page and you can't flick them off or anything like that. So this one is cerulean. This one was always really popular. If I'm ew, what? Must be like some glue or something. That's okay. This one is always the most popular one in all of the boxes, if I remember correctly, just because it was a really nice blue, and it worked really well as shirts, as skies, really anything. I quite enjoy them. I know that people are probably going to ask it, so I guess I'll go ahead and address this, is why does it say 14 Streetscape? And this is because this is actually one of the pages that I'm working on for my architecture class at the moment, because we have a semester-long project where we have to do 16 different drawings exploring a word that's given to us from a list. And I quite enjoy that exercise, actually. I think it's a really good activity to partake in, even if you're out of school. But in school, out of school, I think it's really productive, and it's a way to keep on going back to the basics, which, I don't know, I feel like sometimes you just need to go back to the basics in order to really get it, you know? Because sometimes the simpler things in life are more fun and easier to comprehend. Granted, sometimes you do need the application of it, but other times it's kind of just nicer to be able to go, hey, I just like the way this is. So yeah. There are a lot of other ones that are on this list as well, like simplicity, form, spatial relationships. Oh, this one is Robin's Egg Blue. I have one of my Copic markers. I actually got Robin Eggs Blue for, I think, in one of my sketch boxes a couple months ago. Maybe it was last year. Time's been going by really quickly lately. But I remember that this one matches up really well with the Copic marker Robin Egg Blue, which I think is kind of fun. Because normally you don't get that across brands, especially when they're different medias. Because like if you try to compare Robin Egg Blue to like B24 or 8E or something like that, that's not a number. That's just a thing I thought up. Like most of the time they won't match very well, just because they're different brands and they mix their colors differently for the ink or for the powder. This one's Aquamarine. I'm just gonna, yeah, so it's slightly more green, so I'm gonna put that in right here. What I think is really fun about crayons is that you can really layer them into each other, and you can get different kinds of greens and blues. Even if, like, I remember I still have, in my basket, I still have a nice big 24 box of crayons. Well, not as big as this one, because I splurged a little bit, you know, $7 for crayons, it's nice. I found them on Amazon mostly for, like, upwards of $10, and I was like, well, that's a little bit much for crayons. With the 24 box of crayons, I found it's really nice to just go through and layer them into each other, and I can get all the colors, not all the colors, but a lot of the different colors. So I think I'm going to try and layer in a purple. This one is Purple Heart. And it goes like that. So it's kind of more indigo than purple, but we're going to see how that goes in here. Because I kind of want this scene to be more late afternoon. So yeah. I think it's kind of interesting seeing how different people work with crayons too, because some people just go back and forth or diagonals or something like that. But whenever I'm trying to achieve a different layer of color, I go in circles because I think it's kind of more fun to see how that goes. Plus then you can normally just kind of get cute little textures and things. Well, I enjoy it at least. It's kind of therapeutic as well. I think that's why I like crayons so much, is because they really are a therapeutic kind of way to go through. This one is, let's see, cornflower. I remember cornflower. I remember I used to think that it was a really weird name for a color, because I was like, cornflower? Like the flower? Because I thought it was F-O-U-R, not F-L-O-W-E-R. So my brain didn't always quite click that together. Because I would always hear it in my brain and I would be like, oh, okay, well that's weird. Trying to kind of get a sense of cloud here. So trying to get that, it's kind of fun. People are always like, oh, it's crayons. Like, you can't, like, normally crayons are associated with making kind of like kids' drawings and stuff like that. But I think you can make really nice artwork with anything that you have on hand, so long as you know more so what you're doing. What color is this? Oh, beautiful. I know that this one is featured in other boxes as well, like a lot. What? More of that glue stuff, but it's okay. It's crayons. That one's really dark. I think that one will layer in nicely over here. I really enjoy watching people color. I think it's therapeutic. What do you think about crayons? Do you enjoy watching people color? Should I do more videos where I'm coloring with crayons? Should I do more reviews? Let me know in the comments down below, or anything really. I also have an Instagram, which is the exact same name as here on YouTube. So if you like that, you want to send me something that you think won't come through in the comments, I do try and look at every comment that I'm given, mainly because there are so few of them. But those of you who do comment, I really appreciate you like wanting to give me your opinions, because I think it's really great being able to be a small channel and look at y'all's comments and be like, oh my gosh, it's this person again, they're back here again, like they're active. And it's not just because like, oh, it's views or something. I just enjoy talking with y'all. It's fun. Plus, I know I'm a small channel and I don't really care. It's just kind of a fun way for me to spend my time. Oh, this one is Wild Blue Yonder. That kind of makes sense though. It kind of reminds me of early morning, like in the winters when the sun is trying to come up over the horizon. It's just kind of lazy, so it's just kind of sitting there like, no, I think I'm good today. Y'all can go on without me. Like where it's lazily coming up over the sunrise. I think that's kind of nice. Okay, so there we go. We have this kind of, ooh, I really like the texture too. I know some people don't like the waxy texture of crayons, but I really do. So I'm gonna glue down the cityscape on top of this. I'm gonna let that dry. Then I will come back and color this in and see how the crayons do over a much darker, over a much darker material. So we'll see how that works. I've also done a couple of test sheets for the artwork that I'm going through. So while we're waiting for this one to dry, we can go and look at those. And with the power of editing, we will go and look at them. Awesome. Okay, so here we go. So this is crayons on yellow paper. So these are just test images that I've been doing, that I did for my most current drawings. Most of them I used crayons because that's what I decided my final medium was going to be. So I went back through and I did a couple more studies. So my first kind of delve into this was crayons over graphite on yellow paper. That went okay, but I noticed that the colors can get really, really mucky. And because of the graphite and how normally it's very slick, at least with ebony Prismacolor pencils, the crayons kind of go against that. So I tried that. Then this one is with colored pastels, not Crayola brand, it's some other kind. But I really like that, but I decided it wasn't for me. Then I also used oil pastels and I couldn't find any colors I wanted. So went on to crayons, and this is on crayons on a white paper with line art. I did this with just a 24 pack of crayons, and I was able to achieve a lot of different colors. They layered really, really nicely, which is always really fun. Then I have this eye that I did. It's on a much darker paper. This is with line art on paper. This doesn't have any kind of alterations. That's just crayon. That's white, one of the white crayons with a bit of the gray crayon on a much darker paper. So if I zoom out a little bit, you can see just how dark that is compared to everything around it. Then on a mid-tone paper, I went with a very light underdrawing on a warm gray. And then I went over it with crayons, and it just didn't give the effect I wanted, so I decided that I was going to go with line art. And that's what I'm actually going to do for the drawing that we're working on for today's review. So I'm going to go ahead and finish that up, and then we can start drawing with the crayons. So I finished drawing up this cute little illustration based on a cityscape, or a streetscape. And so now we're going to go ahead and color it. So I think that one thing that's really fun to play with when you're working with a cheaper or less costly material is just playing with the colors and seeing what kind of cool stuff that you can do with them. Not just like the colors that you have, but also colors that are more like, oh, well, let's see what I can do with the color palette, that kind of stuff. Because if you have less pressure to do something really, really great, then sometimes it just happens, and that's really nice and fun to play with. So right off the bat, I can tell that these are still very, very pigmented on the brown cardboard that I'm coloring on. So I tried to use really cheap materials cost-effective materials for this entire video. So this is just basically a cereal box backing, except a little bit thicker. It was a scrap material in the studio, so I thought it might be fun to use that. So I'm just going over with a nice base color of green. I find it really satisfying to just go through and listen to nice, smooth jazz and color my way through time. That sounds really, really cheesy, but I enjoy it. I think it's fun. So this isn't really based off anywhere. I just kind of drew a couple of buildings, and then I drew in some nice big fluffy trees. Trying to keep in mind that it is daytime, well, late afternoon type, but not dusk or the golden hour yet. It's just kind of a good general daytime. Although I could go back in and darken up some of the colors in the sky if I really wanted to make this nighttime and turn on the lights. That'd be fun, but I kind of want to keep this simple and daytime illustration. That's also a thing that I've been looking into a lot recently, is just illustration. Editorial illustration is really fun, but so is like a comic book and webtoon illustration. Not specifically webtoon, but webcomic illustration. I find that very fun. It's kind of just nice being able to doodle. And so I'm gonna go ahead and lay down all of my base colors, and then I will go ahead and get back to y'all, because I know some people really don't want to watch a 45-minute video of me just reviewing and coloring in a little illustration that I just drew off the bat. Alright, so as you can see, I've finished up the illustration. I had a lot of fun getting a whole bunch of different colors in this. I think I used about, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different colors in the big old bushes. I really enjoyed this color for the benches as well. So I think that in short, it layers on white the best, but coloring on top of a colored piece of paper or a different type of material is really fun. It provides different challenges for working with the medium. I think it's a really good way to test your understanding of the material that you're working with. I had a lot of fun doing it. So I would definitely say that the 120 Crayola markers, or Crayola crayons, is definitely worth the buy, especially since it's 120 crayons. It was about $7, so let's see, $7, there we go. So $7 divided by 120 ends up being about approximately 6 cents per crayon. And then you also get this really nice packaging, and you also get your own little sharpener buddy. I haven't had to actually use this yet, so I'll just grab one of my other crayons that I have on hand that needs a bit of sharpening. Alright, so I just went ahead and grabbed my pink Crayola crayon out of the 24 crayon box that I have in my basket. So we're just going to go ahead and use this as we normally would. So seems to be doing its job alright. keep on. Yeah, so you can see in there that it's already kind of scraping away a good bit of the crayon. I'd say that considering it's getting nice and sharp already, and I've only gone it around a couple of times, doing really well. We'll see how it does with the paper really fast. Alright, so it just hit the paper, and you can see that it's really nice. It comes to a good point. Definitely better than trying to do this with an X-Acto blade, much safer. Especially if you're like a younger audience member, please don't use X-Acto blades to sharpen your crayons. Definitely a good little buddy to have when you use your crayons. I went ahead and color coded all of them, and as I counted, we have 24 reds and pinks, 15 orange, 9 yellows, 17 greens, 19 blues, 13 violets, 13 browns and neutrals, 7 grays, and 3 metallics. Yeah, all in all, I really enjoyed the product. This was a really fun video for me to film, just reviewing some of my old favorite materials to work with. Well, I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you do, let me know down in the comment section down below. Leave a like, subscribe if you want to, and make good choices, and have a great day.